Hello YouTube, Ronan Kazi, Diablo 4. Well, this is not the video. This is something that people may have wanted. I'm going to show you my build. This is the latest build I use now. I'm a druid. I have some special unique pieces that give me more werewolf stuff, so I have more werewolf pieces in there. The werewolf pieces are my generator now. I still use Lightning Storm, which is an AoE attack with the little extras on it. So that's a core skill. You can see that I have a little more. That's kind of abundance is kind of important. I've tried to play without it. And then I'm also using the speed. That's superfluous, but it's what I like for right now. And that's the core skill. Then when we get into defensive skills, I get the maximum, the 15% damage reduction. And then I am using Blood Howl as a kind of a self-heal. I can't emphasize it enough. That's a pretty good build. So now I don't have to spend a lot of points because I get 2 points on that and all my werewolf pieces with that piece of armor. I'm always going to have Poison Creeper. This is a poison build, so I want to do more poison, extend the poison. And then what rounds it off, this gives me the random lightning and gives me a little extra, but then hurricane. So I have those 2 AoE pieces, and then for single target damage, I have gone to rabies. Again, I get some benefit with that piece of armor. And so rabies is my single target skill, but it does spread. I have poison on that, which these are some ancillary skills. That's I get health or spirit back, and I get the main, ultimate kind of thing, I guess. So that's the build, how it looks. Let's get into some gameplay. So I've zoomed in quite a bit. With that chest piece now, I'm always in werewolf form until I do a human skill. A human skill. Why is this video called Tribute? I played with Sloth Moods, and we went through using those sigils to do a nightmare level dungeon. You've seen me do a nightmare level dungeon. He told me that some of the sigils go up to whatever, and I couldn't believe him. So we did a nightmare dungeon together, and we absolutely crushed it. And so with this build and what I have now, I was like, well, let's try a little bit harder. So I'm level 55 when we did the video that this isn't. This is just a tribute. That's a nod to Tenacious D in their song, Tribute. Awesome song, and kind of related to this video because this video is a tribute to the video I didn't take with Sloth. So we go in there, we go through Nightmare, and we just absolutely crush it. So I go, what do you want to ramp it up to? Like level 15? Mind you, we had just done like a level 4 or either level 2 or 4. So I put it up to level 15. When we got in there, the mobs were level 68. I'm 55. Sloth is 57. And it was the one where you had infected villagers. And also a characteristics in Nightmare Dungeons are they have like a random continual damage thing that follows you around. On some of the nightmares I've been in, I went in the forest one and little globules got shot at me, landed on the floor, blinded me, did some damage and exploded. On this one, we had like a rock that follows around, just did an AoE damage, just always in the most inopportune times. And the one that we had done just immediately preceding that, it would spawn a portal and demons would come in. He's a necromancer, so it's no problem. If we have more mobs coming in that we can kill, it's actually better for him. And it's better for me because how my build is. The pieces I didn't really show you are my jewelry, which really help me do almost unlimited lightning storms in a group. Once the group goes below 4, then I kind of peter out. But it's a great build. So we get into that, and we don't really recognize that the mobs are level 68. It's a little bit tough, but we're going through there. And we have those accidental deaths that you normally have when you go into a new place and you kind of don't really realize. Sloth eventually calls out like, hey man, these are level 68. Having played World of Warcraft, right, I have a video way back there. It says level 17 versus level 35. I'm level 17 fighting level 35. And I absolutely get smoked because in Blizzard games, you know, there's big diminishing returns by going so high. I had no idea about the sigil system, so I just did whatever I thought. I wasn't doing it because I wanted some challenge. I just wanted to give us a little more challenge than what we were doing. So after we kind of settle in, we discover this mechanic of all these people we got to kill before we go to the boss are infected with rabies. So they're doing rabies. Now, in my build, I use rabies as my single target killer kind of thing. And I probably should use shred with some other stuff, but I still like having an AoE. But in any case, once we discover the mechanic, you know, a lot of times Sloth he has a really great two-handed weapon that he gets a lot of benefit if they're vulnerable, if they're close, you know, a lot of stacking, things like that. So he's in melee range of the mob, but, you know, we'll knock the mob down. I'm 15 levels below this. I'm 15 levels below, he's 13 levels. So we can't overcome the rabies effect with just standing in there and just delivering damage. So we have to move away out of that, but we don't realize that at first. And so once we figure that mechanic, we go through 2 of the infected villagers, and which is really impressive. We're on our way to the 3rd, and we come across a maggot. Now, the maggot's a little bit faster than the people. And then we're out of sync because we've died a couple times, and we're out of sync. I'm in a situation where it's pretty hard for them to kill me. But at that level, I just don't got the horsepower. I do if they don't have rabies, they'd be down. But to them have rabies, and for me, using a melee build. So in the middle, I use my ranged. I switch to my range, so it's okay. So I'm not using this build to get out of the melee range. But, you know, what I have going on are the following things. Number 1, I have Hurricane, which is great. It slows them, but it puts me in a melee range at first. And then I have, I'm going to call it Vile Jammer, but it's Viper Poison Creeper, which locks everyone down, puts poison on them, and it kind of slows them. But now I've built this build so it really slows them. We didn't have that at that point. And then so I'm missing like a 3rd skill then, right? Rabies isn't that good of a skill at that point. You know, I probably should have another range skill. But I don't. Sloth goes back to repair. He does some stuff. He eventually comes back in. I've now kited the maggot to the 3rd boss to this floating thing that's constantly AoEing us. And we started discussion in Discord like, it's not going to happen. And I want to tell you how powerful Sloth is. He stands next to every boss and just kills it and doesn't even use a healing pot ever. When he does, it's very rare. My build's okay. I can do that. You know, just to give you an example, we did a thing right after that. I had to leave the boss twice, but I went back in. I got out of the AoE area, healed, and came back in. He never has to move. So this is kind of a new phenomenon for him. And so what the point of the tribute is, we did fantastic, but we didn't succeed. So when we got out of it, he's not so happy about his build. And he makes a point, and I agree with his point 100%. There's always room for improvement. So that part, but we're really, we're not going at each other, but, you know, it's like when something goes wrong, everyone's like, well, fuck, what's going on? What's going on? And he's saying like he has to adjust his build. And I'm like, you don't have to adjust anything. He's right. You always got to look at adjusting your build or how you can make it better. That's why I added rabies. Sometimes I have the dogs. Maybe the dogs would be better because maybe they can't be rabied. Maybe the dogs would act as a tank a little bit, and it would give me the distance to kill them. Who knows? So maybe I need to have the dogs and not have rabies because the dogs do some different things. All that being said, we had a long discussion after that. We went back in and did like a tier 5, and we blew through that. Like there's in the movie Platoon, I know I'm showing my age, but one of their comrades gets killed, and so then they find a village and they destroy that village. And they say something to the effect, that village had stood for 1,000 years, but our fury came in and whatever, they destroyed it. That's what happened. Those dudes in the dungeon, those NPCs were like, okay, got another set of people coming through. And we just, like, we killed them twice, right? Like, they couldn't even respawn. They had to bring in new NPCs to fill that dungeon because we really killed them. Because we were both, like, pretty PO'd. So I wish, so today, the video's late because I was like, oh, I got that footage. And you'll see this guy has the blood-sucking. You'll see he regenerates his health doing that. So you just have to... At this level, it's not even that hard, but at 15 levels above me and 13 levels above Sloth, it was a little bit harder. There he is. He's healing himself off of me. So this is normally when I say thank you for sharing, liking, subscribe, unsubscribe, resubscribe, commenting, hit the notification. But for me, the big thing out of that is don't change. When you have a black swan event happen in your life, one of the things about black swan is, one, it's an unpredictable event. Number two, you try to say it was always predictable because you look in the past and say, oh, of course this was going to happen. These things that happen in your life that are non-sequitur. My dad died when I was 18. Is it okay for me to think the rest of my life everyone's going to die, drop dead, like, before their actuary table death time is supposed to be? No. So just think about that before you do rash decisions. I'm not saying don't change. I'm a big proponent of change, but change for the right reasons. This is Ronan Kazi. Thank you, YouTube. Thank you, everyone that watches these videos. Appreciate you. Have a good one. Bye.